I almost forgot the last part of Notes 13. It's really short. In Notes 13, we also want to look at like terms. Definition: like terms of an algebraic expression are terms that have the exact same variable parts. So you may be combining two x's, two y's, two xy's, but let me go ahead and show you. I think it's easier just to do it. Identify the terms that are alike in the algebraic expression. Then combine those like terms into a new algebraic expression. Now, when you're combining like terms, again, as I said, it means you're going to combine the x's together, and you're going to combine the constants together, plain numbers. So 8x's minus 2x's is 6x's. A 5 and a 7 that are both positive add up to make 12. That is what it is called, combining like terms. And if you can't tell which ones go first, I just have a rule that I would go left to right. So on number 14 here, we're going to start by noticing we have x's. We're going to go ahead and add those first. 7x's and negative 10x's make negative 3x's when I combine. You just add the numbers out in front together. Then we have some y terms. We have a negative 4y and a positive 5y. Negative 4y's and positive 5y's make 1y. And you can write the 1 in front or not. That is up to you. And then finally, we have this constant and this constant that can be added together. The 8 and the negative 6 make 2. And there we have it. Let's keep going. There's also a distributive property that we need to be kind of start looking at. When you have a distributive property, you're actually distributing, for instance, this a that is multiplied onto that parentheses. It means that the a will be multiplied onto the b and then also onto the c. Same thing if it's subtraction in there, doesn't really matter. When you have a number out in front of parentheses, it just means you're going to multiply it onto each term inside. See how you get a times b is ab, and a times c is ac. A times b is ab, and a times negative c is minus ac. That's what we're going to do now. Let's apply the distributive property, and then we want to make sure it's simplified, which means collecting all like terms if we have any. Now let's start. On number 15, I'm going to make this a little bigger. On number 15, we're going to distribute the 3. 3 times x are not the same kind of numbers, so you write them next to each other. 3x. 3 times negative 5, 3 times a minus 5 is negative 15. Nothing that can be combined there, so we're done. And we'll scoot over. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times 4 is minus 8. I don't have anything I can combine. X's and 8's can't go together, so we're done. Let's look at 17. Negative 5 times 2x. You multiply the numbers out in front. That is a negative 10x. And then negative 5 times negative 3. Well, a negative times a negative is positive, and 5 times 3 is 15. Let's do that over here. 2 times 3x is 6x. And 2 times the 6 is going to give us 12. But this has a negative 17 hanging out at the end there. And I noticed that even though I just have one x term, I do have a couple of constants. 12 and negative 17 combine to make negative 5. Let's look at our last two examples that illustrate that a little bit more. And again, if you want to pause the video at any time and try them, please do. Let's start with this guy. We have a 4 that we're going to distribute onto that parentheses, and this is a negative 5 that will be distributed onto the second term. Second parentheses. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 7 is minus 28. Negative 5 times x is minus 5x. And negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Now here's where our like terms comes into play. I have two x terms. I'm going to combine those. 4x's and negative 5x's. You really just add the numbers out in front. It's going to be a negative 1x. You can write it as negative x or negative 1x. Either way is correct. Now I have a negative 28 and a negative 5. When I add two negative numbers together, I'm going to get a negative. 28 and 5 make 33. And we're done. Let's do our last one again. Pause the video if you want to and try it yourself and then watch. 8 times x will be 8x. 8 times 3 is 24. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 5, two negatives multiply together make a positive. 2 times 5 is 10. Now let's combine like terms. We have two x pieces. 8x's and negative 2x's add up to make 6x. When I combine the 24 and the 10 together, I get 34. Another thing I wanted to mention to you is when you're collecting like terms, I use a marking technique, if you noticed, and that is really handy when you're learning as well. All right, that will be the end of section 13.